there's this whole new like trend on social media of these evidence-based people that I think they like kind of miss the boat on what evidence-based is sometimes. But people, there's times I'll say to people, we don't do this exercise because I think it's dangerous, and they'll go, no, it's not dangerous, and I'm like, it's more dangerous than the alternatives, because I've had a couple people get hurt. And there's times when I feel, I very much value what I learn, but my experiences matter. And when people online talk about how like anecdotes are the least important part of evidence, I very much disagree on that. I actually think anecdotes, when you've trained a lot of people, are, if not the most valuable, really close to the most valuable teachers. And that can be a positive or a negative thing. Sometimes you just have great results with something and you don't know why it works, but it works. And then there's times when I'll do something with someone because somebody I respect did it and a guy gets hurt, and I go, man, maybe that wasn't such a good idea.
Yeah.
And
that's a great point. That maybe is one of my biggest pet peeves that I see online is like, I'll talk about, okay, I've had like 30 NBA players and I've seen this trend and I believe this to be true. And then somebody will go like, yeah, but this study shows that it's not. And they pull up a study that's like 15 untrained college age males. Like if I have 50 on a highly specific population, that is actually way more powerful than the 15 untrained college age males.
Yeah.
Even if it's peer reviewed, that means nothing.
It means nothing. And I really do. The older I get, the better I get about not engaging in internet arguments. I used to be way worse. I remember when I first started writing for T-Nation, if I ever got a negative comment, I was like trying to find this guy's address to like pull up. I'm like, dude, I'm pulling up. Like, you said that my article was bad. Like, now we have to fight. I've outgrown that a little, but I still do. If you catch me on a day where I don't have a lot of clients, and and somebody, I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing. Like, honestly, half the time I post and I go about my day, and then I see what people said at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The other half of the time I post, if it's a slow day, I'm reading the comments and I'm going, fuck you guys. Like, how can you tell me that what I'm doing is so stupid? Like, you never done this. Like, and there's never been a research study on 30 NBA players. There just isn't. Like, they wouldn't do that. Like, the guys wouldn't be down to do it. Like,
and you would have to isolate variables. So you would have to say, okay, you guys can't train. Let's take away your whole training program and let's just do this one exercise for 12 weeks.
Nobody's going to do it. And there's never been a study on a bunch of guys that are 6'6" and above. The gym ain't built for guys like that.
Yep.
The gym ain't. These studies aren't on people that have had obscenely high physical workload since they were 12 years old. It's like all these things change. So I think anecdotes, I've noticed things with actors and things like that, like a lot of commonalities. I think people that live crazy lifestyles and travel all the time and fly all the time, like, these things matter. And that these don't come into the studies. Like, I've noticed all kind of things. And I really do hold my personal anecdotes as one of the highest forms of evidence. Because I'm like, I've hurt people. I'll be the first trainer to say I've had guys hurt their backs lifting, where then when I dug a little deeper, I'm like, okay, I think this is why. And, so we're going to change it. And even if, people on the internet think like, because I do, the other thing about my social media that is, it's hard to convey context. Yeah. But I write my social media, the answer to almost every training thing is it depends. But I think for the average exerciser and even for pro athletes, it depends is a shitty answer. I think most people, when you train them, just want to know, if someone said to me, do you like back squat or front squat? They don't want the 2,000 word article that I used to write on my blog about the back squat versus the front squat. They want to know that I like front squat better. Yeah. And I could see back squat in certain situations, but I like front squat better generally. So I just say front squat. On the internet, that doesn't really fly, because people that don't train people and just love to like do like the online circle jerk about exercise are like, well, what about this and what about this? And I'm like, no, man, I think, and that, like, I'd say with most people, like, goblet squat's actually better than those. Like, because I'm not, but my context is, I'm not training like high school football players or something. I'm training, average adults with like below average mobility, and I try to do stuff that's going to get them in shape and not get hurt. Right. So I have no problem saying like, I like this exercise, I don't like this exercise. That exercise that I said I don't like, yeah, if you press me more and I'm talking with my trainer friends, I could see applications for it. But when I'm talking to a client, I just say, I don't like this. You know, if somebody says to me, should I do interval training or steady state? You got to just answer one of the two. You know, on the internet, you don't. You could write a whole thing about it and get into a whole debate if you don't have a life. But like to a client, I would say, depending on the situation. But today I would say just, yeah, you're tired, just steady state today. Like that type of thing, you know? There's nuanced answers, but I don't do my social media for the online circle jerk. I do it for the average exerciser that just wants to know what to do, and do I think this is better than this? You know, that type of thing. Yeah,
so many people get caught up in those online debates. As soon as you get back to one person, it's like you're sucked into that world, and then they want to, you know, make posts, and it turns into this whole debate, and it's just so annoying. And it really holds us back, because then everything you go to post, you're like second guessing, because you're like, this would help people, but if I don't give this context, then people are going to pick fun at it. And yeah, it becomes a mess.
Yeah. My thought on that is I post talking to the people I train, and I just don't really care about the rest, you know, but I do think one of my pet peeves is the evidence-based community that poo-poos anecdotes, because I think that anecdotes from people I know are so valuable. Like, you know, a lot of my trainer friends that train people all the time, like I was talking to a guy the other day, and it got me thinking, because he said he's now had 3 guys tweak their hamstring on the True Form treadmill. And I did back in the day, but I never thought about it. And I thought to myself, shit, I did too. I didn't say it was the treadmill, but there's something interesting about this. I think we might have, I'm not going to vilify the treadmill, but I now think that maybe we have to look at how people run on that thing, because I've now heard of several things. That's a very valuable anecdote of someone that trains people. You know, if you told me on air or off air, you know, with the basketball guys, that you've been noticing certain trends, I would take that in way higher regard for my basketball guys than I would any study about an exercise that was all done on people my size. That exactly. You know, like I just would, because there's no studies on guys that like they don't even fit on the bench. You know, that type of thing.